you are a business owner that has both Airtable and Zapier in your tech stack, but you're still not totally sure whether you should be using Airtable automations or Zapier automations, this video is going to save you a ton of headache, time, and also money. Hey, my name is Ashley. I'm a systems strategist and an Airtable expert and the founder of Systems Over Stress. I really believe that anytime that you are stressed out in your business, there is a system that can help you get over that. And most of those systems are always built in Airtable, and sometimes we use Zapier as well. I use both Airtable and Zapier every single day in my business, and I use both Airtable automations and Zapier automations. So in this video, we're going to walk through the differences between Airtable automations and Zapier automations, why you need both and when to use each one, and we'll also walk through some actual use cases of how much money you can save by moving some of your Zaps over into Airtable, so you can really see how much you can save and just some of the benefits of relying on Airtable automations, probably more than you currently are. If you are a coach, agency owner, or service provider, you absolutely have to be using Airtable. If you're not already, it's going to blow your mind. And if you are already using it, you're only using it to a fraction of its potential. I've got a free Airtable masterclass linked below that shows you exactly how I use Airtable to run my entire business. So go ahead and check out that. It's a perfect next step after this video. You can sign up for that for free in the description below. Let's dive in and talk about the differences between Airtable and Zapier. So at its core, Airtable is a database platform and Zapier is an automation platform. I'm going to get this out of the way now. Zapier has rolled out something called interfaces, which kind of look like a light version of a database, but I'm going to be real with you, I do not use that. I tested it when it came out, and compared to what Airtable can do, it's just super limited, doesn't hold a candle to it. So for this video, we're not touching Zapier interfaces. It's just not the same. I still do not consider Zapier to be comparable to the Airtable as a database platform. Now, what's cool about Airtable and why it's one of my favorite database platforms is it has built-in automations, and those automations are super cool. Airtable being your database platform, it helps you store and organize your information. So all of your client information lives there. We manage all of our content inside of Airtable, applications, really all of the moving pieces, all of the data about your business lives in Airtable. So not only is it a database platform, it lets you trigger actions right inside of Airtable based on things like when a user submits a form or when a record is updated in your data, date-based reminders, lots of really cool things. So we love Airtable as a database platform that has automation capabilities. Now, Zapier, on the other hand, is fully an automation platform. It is that girl. Its job is to connect different tools together, and it is powerful. There are like thousands of integrations that you can connect with. You can connect Airtable and Stripe, Thrivecart, Kajabi, Dubsado, Circle, Gmail, Slack, Zoom, on and on and on. There's so many different integrations. I actually, before I sign up for any new software in my business, I always make sure that it's Zapier compatible first. And if it is not, then I don't buy it. So I only add tech into my tech stack that is Zapier compatible because Zapier is so powerful as an automation platform. So we want to make sure that anything that you are using in your business, that you can automate that data in and out of that platform. So for example, with let's say Kajabi, which is a course platform, you can say when there's a new course sale in Kajabi, I want you to use Zapier to automate that into Airtable. And vice versa, if I say in Airtable, I want to remove this client from the Kajabi course, then Zapier can help us remove that client automatically from the course, all without you having to do any manual work. So while both have automation triggers and actions and all those things, there's just so much more power inside of Zapier. So Airtable is really best to use Airtable automations when everything is happening in your Airtable base or you're using Slack and Gmail. So let me actually show you what this looks like so you can see the differences. So this is an Airtable base. This is a client hub. This is a template that I sell, but you'll see that an Airtable base has data and automation. So it has its own little automation section. And you can have different sections for those automations, and you can see that there are triggers. The triggers are things like all of these are inside of Airtable. When a record matches a condition inside of Airtable, when a form is submitted from an Airtable form, when a record's created in Airtable, all of those are Airtable. There is when a webhook is received. If you have experience with webhooks, then you can do some things there and also cut down on your Zap tasks. And there's also some integrations, which honestly we don't really use, like when an event is created in Google Calendar, Google Forms, Google Sheets. So we've got those triggers, and we also have actions. So we do have actions. Again, these are all integrated inside of Airtable. So create record, update record, find record, sort list, run script, send an email. Those are all from Airtable itself. So you should never really need to use Zapier for Airtable to Airtable automations. Airtable can totally handle that. But Airtable can also handle Slack. So send a Slack message, Microsoft Teams, Gmail, Google Calendar, it can create events, Google Forms, Google Sheets, we don't use those a ton, GitHub, Facebook Pages, Hootsuite, Twilio, we don't use a ton of those. Really the biggest ones that we use are Slack and Gmail. So you'll see that this is definitely a robust list, especially because if you have clients, you are using Slack and you're using Gmail, you're sending messages to your team, you're sending emails to clients, you're sending emails to podcast outreach, whatever you want. You can use a lot of tasks. I'll get into what Zap tasks are and the pricing model of that because it can really add up. So you can use a lot of the internal automation integrations in Airtable instead of using the ones in Zapier. But there are so many other pieces of tech in your business that Airtable is just not touching when it comes to automations. So that way, if we go into our Zapier automations, there are 8,181 apps that are Zapier compatible. So things like we use a ton, we use Thrivecart. So that's there. So it's really nice to just come in and see all of the different options of things that you can automate. That's why we always say you're not going to get rid of Zapier. You're still going to keep it. We use Calendly for calls. So when there's a new call, add it to Airtable. That's done through Zapier. Active Campaign, which is our email marketing platform. So there's a lot of integrations that Zapier has that Airtable just simply doesn't. So you still need both. So you will use Airtable automations for any time you're doing Airtable to Airtable updates, or when you're using Slack or Gmail. Everything else will be done through Zapier. Okay, so you might be wondering, Ashley, if there is a Gmail Zapier automation integration and there is one for Slack, then why wouldn't I just do those right inside of Zapier? That's a great question, and there's two main reasons for this. One of the reasons is just ease of troubleshooting. So if you have an automation, I'm going to say this automation is doing something that we say when a record matches a condition, if it says send, it's going to send an email to the client, it's going to send a Slack message to our team, and it's going to update the record to say that send has now sent. So that's all happening right inside of Airtable. So that's cool. Could totally build something like that in Zapier. Like that exists, that is possible. But what's nice about when you build automations inside of Airtable, you get the revision history and you have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to troubleshooting. So you'll see here on the revision history that we can see automations edited via API using test send automation. So what this is doing is literally saying, hey, this record was updated and it was updated by this automation. And if you click it, it's going to take you to that automation and help you troubleshoot. So it just makes things happen really fast. So if you're like, this errored out, then you would know exactly why. So that's one of the reasons that we recommend using Airtable automations whenever possible. Just if you can, you might as well keep everything clean and nice in here. So another reason, to be honest, probably the most enticing reason is cost. So if you are on an Airtable plan, if you're on the team plan, which most of my clients are, you get 25,000 automation runs for a $20 per month seat. So that means that you can run 25,000 automations and you're only paying $20 for everything. So that's just like kind of standard. So the pricing that Airtable has for automations is really great. So you can run a lot of automations on that team plan. If you're on the free plan, which some people are, you get 100 automation runs. So most of the time people have to upgrade from free to team when they are running out of automation runs, or if they have more records. There's 1,000 record per base limit on the free plan and 50,000 record per base limit on the team plan. But let's go compare that with Zapier. Here you'll see we have $20 for 25,000 automations. In Zapier, we pay $20 if billed annually, so even $30 if we're doing it the month to month, for 750 tasks a month. So what that means is a task is like anything that happens inside of a Zap. So let's say that one that we did over in our automations here, this is a task and this is a task. Sending an email is a task and sending a Slack message is a task and updating a record is a task. That's 3 tasks, okay? So those are tasks. And let's say you have 100 clients that you need to do this with. That's 300 tasks. And we're paying $30 a month for 750 tasks. So we could eliminate half of our task usage essentially by utilizing Airtable's automations, where we have 25,000 automation runs. So a really good thing to do, a little homework, pause this video or just pull it up in the background while you're watching this video. Go into your Zapier and see how many Slack messages are you automating through Zapier? How many emails are you automating through Zapier? How many Airtable updates are you doing through Zapier? If you move those over to Airtable, you could drastically reduce your Zapier costs. So Zapier can add up. So a lot of my clients, before they start working with me, are often overpaying for Zapier because they're using Zapier. They're just using too many Zaps that could be actually in Airtable instead. So we really work on getting their Zap tasks down as low as possible, so they feel really confident that they have like the leanest Zaps like possible. Because what that means is if their business is growing, then they are excited that they are now instead of using 750 tasks, they have to upgrade to the 1,500 tasks a month. They know like that's because I'm onboarding 100 new clients. And if I'm onboarding 100 new clients, like I do have to use Zapier for certain things that Airtable can't touch, but I can trust that I'm using the least amount of Zaps possible to automate my business. I look at Zapier and Airtable really as some of my cheapest team members. Like the amount of tasks, 1,500 tasks a month. If you had a human doing 1,500 tasks a month for only $60, you'd be like, this is the best team member I've ever had. But we want to pay our teams fairly, of course, but we can totally rely on Zapier. So when you kind of switch your mindset there and you're like, I'm using this as efficiently as possible, every penny of this is completely worth it because I know that my Zaps are set up as effectively as they can, and anything I could save by making an Airtable automation, I am doing that, then that's a really great place to be. So in conclusion, you need both. You definitely are going to need Zapier if you are a growing business because there's just so much more that you automate and streamline in your business than just Slack messages and Gmail and Airtable. But if you are using Slack messages and Gmail and Airtable, you can absolutely leverage the power of Airtable automations to really get your Zap costs down and take advantage of the 25,000 automation runs that you get in a base with Airtable. I hope this was helpful for you. If this finally helped you get clear on when to use Airtable versus when to use Zapier, I am so excited. And if you are ready to dive more into what Airtable can do for you and your business, whether you're a coach, service provider, or agency owner, go ahead and check out my Airtable masterclass. It's in the description below. It'll walk you through all the ways that I use Airtable and more. Airtable and Zapier just go hand in hand beautifully. And I would love to know in the comments if there's anything that you took away from this video. If you are going to be saving on Zap tasks, or if you're going to be playing around with automations, let me know. We're super excited to support you, and we'll see you in the next video.